you live in North America, make a mental note. On August 21st, 2017, there will be a total solar eclipse of the sun. Grab your gear, plan a nice location, because this is one you're not going to want to miss, as total solar eclipses don't occur in excess. But what causes this beautiful phenomenon? Well, a solar eclipse happens when the moon lines up between the Earth and the sun, landing the three in direct alignment. The moon therefore blocks the light of the sun from reaching the Earth. The people who see the total eclipse are in the center of the moon's shadow when it hits the Earth. According to NASA, during this particular eclipse, day will turn into night, making visible the otherwise hidden solar corona, the sun's outer atmosphere. The eclipse will be cutting through the United States. Optimal viewing locations include the Oregon coast and passing over the states of Idaho, Wyoming, Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, and finishing in South Carolina. But fear not, if you're in America, you'll still be able to see the eclipse, just not in its totality. The time for the eclipse is estimated to be less than 2 hours. The total eclipse, should you land in optimal viewing regions, will only last about 2 minutes. With all this in mind, here are a few things to consider before you go out to try and capture this beautiful spectacle. Here at Sweet Lou Photography, safety is a high priority. According to various resources on the web, you need certified eclipse viewing glasses. During the period of totality, you'll be able to look at the eclipse with the naked eye, but during the moments where the sun is blocked by the moon before or after totality, you can suffer burns to your retinas. You don't want to end up like this guy, right?
Wait a minute. I'm blind! No! 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 They booby-trapped their son somehow!
There are organizations that grant a certification for safe, direct solar viewing. Look for one or more of the following certifications on screen now. Definitely look into resources around you. There are several branches of the New York Public Library that are doing viewing parties, where they give away free sets of Eclipse viewing glasses. This should go without saying, but do keep in mind that looking through your camera will not protect your eyes either, unless it's properly prepared for the event as well. I strongly recommend only using live view for this. You can still check your focus, you can still frame up and expose. To put it bluntly, it's safer. I'm not responsible for your retinas. There are specific filters made for this event called solar filters. Your traditional ND filters are the subject of heated debate online. Some suggest that they may not be enough to protect your eyes or your camera's sensor from the intense light of the sun. Unfortunately, the aforementioned solar filters are pricey. It's kind of rough to justify spending so much on a one-time event, equipment that you probably won't use again for years. Fear not, there are a few alternatives. You may be tempted to grab a pair of welding goggles to view the sun or welding glass. If you do, you must use number 14 welder's glass for proper protection. You can also simply buy a solar filter sheet off Amazon and build your own housing for your lens. People on Reddit suggest you use cardboard or metal to build the housing around your lens to prevent any sort of light leaks. I've also read about some people stacking ND filters to protect themselves from the sun. If you're going this route, be sure you really do your homework on how many stops of light you'll need to protect yourself. You're also likely to lose image quality by stacking several filters on top of one another. There's a really great resource online that gives you an interactive Google map so you can trace the path of the eclipse and the hotspots for the totality period. You can also click around within this map to show you the local timings of everything. So let's say you live in New York, you can click here and see the start time of the eclipse, the time where the totality will land, and the time of the completion. I also found a cool resource made by Time magazine which allows you to put in your zip code and see an approximation of what the eclipse will look like in your area. Outside of these resources, the choice is really yours. Go under the logic of, if I'm shooting this wide-angle photo and it's cool, how much cooler would it be to have a friggin' eclipse in it? Then, go figure out where the sun will be relative to your location, and you'll be golden. Though this may not be possible for everyone, I really think the best way to go out and shoot this eclipse is with 2 or more cameras. The main reason is that you're going to want a tight shot on the eclipse, especially in its totality, and you'll probably also want a series of wide shots so that you can composite the whole thing, or even make a cool time-lapse video of the event. So, checklist time. 2 cameras. Keep in mind if you're using a DSLR, do not look through the viewfinder. You don't want to end up like Zim. 2 tripods. one telephoto lens for your close-up shot of the totality and the stages of the eclipse. To help you choose the right lens, Canon has a very helpful tool to determine what the sun will look like based on your focal length and sensor combination. One wide-angle lens to capture a larger scope of the scene, and last but not least, filters for your lenses. In terms of exposure, keep in mind that you're going to be photographing a situation that's virtually changing from day to night to day, all in the span of 2 hours. That said, your settings are going to rapidly change. From some Reddit and Google research, it seems that you'll be jumping around roughly 10 stops between the day look of things versus the period of totality, where things will resemble nighttime. In addition, if you're shooting telephoto and trying to fill the frame, you'll need to take into account the rotation of the Earth. Long exposures will likely not be possible in this scenario, as the sun will be moving out of your frame. One final thought, I highly recommend you bracket your exposures. If you're not familiar with bracketing, fear not, as most modern cameras will have some sort of auto bracketing, usually abbreviated as AEB. Auto exposure bracketing. Bracketing simply allows you to shoot variances on your exposures. So when I enable auto bracketing on my 5D, I can tell it to shoot the regular exposure I've made as well as one shot underexposed by a stop of light and one stop overexposed by a stop of light. This will help you out tremendously. If you fudge an exposure, your camera will be ready to cover your ass with another. In addition, the multiple exposures will be saved and you can then use them in tandem with Photoshop to make a compositive image, metered for all the parts of your frame. Well, that's about it from me. I hope this helped you out on your quest to shoot the amazing eclipse. Hope and pray for good weather and no clouds. Find a buddy and head on out there. I'd love to see what you come up with. Feel free to hit me up on Instagram to show me what you got. And of course, remember to be safe out there. Happy hunting, sweet fam. Smash that subscribe button if you're here, or don't. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. Thanks for tuning in. All resources are in the description below.